everyone, welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to be making a Christmas pot holder centerpiece, and this is a quick and easy project. You can do it in a day. You can have it ready for your holiday table. Let's get started. So this piece requires a couple of different pieces. So it's 21 of the round little circles and 3 of the large circles. I'm making these all out of 100% cotton yarn, and that's so that I can actually put hot pots and pans on it and it won't burn through and ruin my table and my pots and pans. The yarn I got is a yarn called Sprightly. As you can see here, it is from a website called Craftsy. It's really soft cotton. It's size 4, so it's a medium yarn, and there's 525 yards in one of these skeins. So it's a very generous skein. You can do it all, this whole centerpiece, you could do it all in one color and just use a skein if you choose to, or you can do like me and get a couple of different colors. So we're going to be starting this project with a magic circle. So it's similar to a slip knot in that you wrap the yarn around your fingers, but you're going to pinch the area where your yarn crisscrosses. So then you're going to insert your hook, grab some yarn and pull it through the center. So I've got my center loop, and then just grab the tail of the yarn that you're going to be working with, wrap it around your hook, and then I generally move my hand to pinch the yarn that's right below my hook, and that way it makes it easier to just pull my the hook through the loop. So that's just our beginning loop. That one doesn't count. We're going to make 8 single crochets into this loop. So I yarn over. I'm just going to pinch this bottom part again, and then I'm going to yarn over again and pull through my 2 loops. So that's 1 single crochet. We'll go ahead and make a second single crochet. And then a third one. And then I'm just going to speed up here a little bit so I can finish all 8 single crochets. Alright, so I've got my last single crochet in, and now I'm just going to get this tiny little tail end, and we're going to tighten up our circle. So as you can see, that closed up our magic circle and made it nice and tight. So just be sure that if you pull it nice and tight, you're going to make all of your circles the same. So pull them nice and tight. So in this top stitch, we're going to insert our hook. There we go. And then we're going to yarn over. And we're pulling our hook through that stitch, and we're going to pull it through that loop that we had on our hook. So that's a slip stitch, and that's how we are going to close the round. So we're going to do this every time we close a round. So for our next row, I'm going to chain 2, and this is going to be a row of double crochets. So I'm just going to hold this little tail end above my stitch over here so that I don't have to weave it in later, but if you don't feel comfortable doing that, go ahead and just leave it to the side and weave it in later. So for our double crochet, we're going to yarn over and insert our hook into the stitch right next to where our chain starts. We're going to yarn over again and pull through the stitch. So now we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. So that's a double crochet. Let's make another one. So yarn over and insert your hook into that same stitch you just made the crochet in. Yarn over, pull through your stitch, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So we have 2 double crochets in the same stitch. In the stitch next to it, we'll do the same. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So it's just another double crochet. So here's my second double crochet. There we go. And for the rest of this row, you're going to make 2 double crochets in every single one of the stitches. So I'm nearing the end of my row. There we go. And we have one last stitch left. See, it's the one that's right next to our chain. This last stitch, we're only going to make 1 double crochet, and that's to keep it from cramping up and then ruining the flatness of our nice little pot holder centerpiece. So that's the end of this row. So in this very top stitch, so you see this chain, we're going to work in the topmost stitch. So it's the top stitch of our double crochet, the first one we made in this row. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through the stitch, and then pull through the loop on your hook. So that is our very first row, and it's a row of double crochets. Our next row is a row of single crochets. So chain one. In this little first stitch right here, this is the only row I do it in, so I only do this in the single crochets. You're going to make one single crochet. And in the next stitch, we're going to make 2 single crochets. So we've got one, and we're going to make a second one in that same stitch. The stitch after that, insert your hook, we're going to make 2 more again. So there's our first one. So go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. There's our single crochet, and we'll just keep working 2 single crochets in every one of the stitches all the way around our circle. So I've reached the end of my circle, and I've got my last stitch before I get to the chain, so I'm going to make 1 single crochet. So I won't fill it up with tons of stitches. Now this little thing right here, that's our chain. We're going to go into this next stitch, so that's the one above the first single crochet we made in this row. So I'll insert my hook, yarn over, pull through the stitch, and then just pull through my loop. So that was my slip stitch, and we're done with our second row. For the next row, it's just another double crochet row. So we start by chaining 2. So we've got 1 and 2. We're going to work in the stitch, not this one, this one. So the next stitch, so the stitch right next to where we made our chain, we're going to make 1 double crochet. So we're going to go into the stitch after that and make a double crochet. So in this row of double crochets and for the rest of the project, you're only going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch. So it was only that first row that we worked 2 double crochets. From here on out, any double crochet row, you're going to be working just 1 double crochet. All our increases are going to be done in the row of single crochets. So I'll keep working here until I get to the end. So I've got 1 last stitch. So see, there's our little guy. So just yarn over, insert your hook, and make 1 last double crochet. And we are finished with this row. So we're going to skip our chain, go to the first stitch above our double crochet, insert our hook, and make a slip stitch. So there's row number 3. The next one, we just chain 1, and it's going to be a row of single crochets. So go into that same stitch you just made the chain in, make 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, make 1 single crochet. In the third stitch, we're going to make 2 single crochets. So here's our increase, and then in the next one it's 1 single crochet, and then we're going to go to the next stitch, and it's going to get 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch 2 single crochets. So the rest of the row is going to go the same way. So it's 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets. And that's going to increase our pot holder just enough so that it'll help it lay flat. So I'm going to keep working my way around this row. So we're at this very last stitch, and as you can see, I worked 2 double crochet or single crochets and then 1. In this last one, I'm going to make 2 single crochets just so that I can keep my increases even. And then we're going to skip the chain, go to the stitch right next to it, which is above the first single crochet that we made in this row, and we're going to make a slip stitch. And this is where I would stop if I'm going to make my small circles. So all of these tiny ones, I made them already in all the other colors I was using. So this is the size that I want for my small, I guess if you want to call them coasters, we can call them coasters, but this is the small circle. The rest of the pattern is just making this one bigger. So I made 7 of each color and 3 of the large ones. So I'm just going to show you here one of the large ones. So the large one is a total of 12 rows, and this small one is a total of 4 rows. So the 4 rows is 2 single crochet rows and 2 double crochet rows. The large one is 6 double crochet rows and 6 single crochet rows. So let's continue on. We're going to chain 2, skip the stitch right below the chain, go into the next stitch, and make our double crochet. Remember that every row that are double crochet rows just gets 1 double crochet per stitch. So make 1 double crochet in every stitch of this row, and I will see you when I finish the round. I'm at my last stitch of the row, and I'm just going to make my 1 double crochet. I'm going to skip this chain, go to the first stitch for the first double crochet that I made this row, and I'm going to make a slip stitch. Now, a couple of things to know when you're making, like when you want to make a flat round, is if it starts to curve up, like there, you can't really see it here, let me turn it the other way. So it starts to curve up kind of like a bowl. It means you don't have enough stitches. That's why it's curving up. We're going to fix that with our row of single crochets. Now, if it starts to get wavy, it means you have too many stitches. So if it's wavy, decrease the number of stitches you have. So you're going to have to redo that row and make less stitches. But we have the opposite problem. So now we're going to increase. So we're going to chain 1, make our single crochet, and then go into the next stitch, make a single crochet. In the stitch after that, we're going to make 2 single crochets, and then we go back to 1 single crochet, and the next one gets 1 single crochet, and the stitch after that gets 2 single crochets. There we go, and we're going to keep working this row the same way. So it's 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. So I'll work my way around, and I'll see you again at the end. So I have finished my row, and I've also closed out my round, and now I'm going to start my row of double crochets. So I chain 2 and start working a double crochet into every stitch. So you're going to keep working the same pattern. So you're going to do the row of double crochets and a row of single crochets, and the row of single crochets is the same that we did just this previous row. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets. You're going to keep working this way until you have a total of 12 rows. So it's going to be 6 rows of double crochets and then 6 rows of single crochets. So total of 12 rows, and that'll make a large pot holder. Now if you're going to continue and you want to make it bigger, you may have to do some adjusting in your decreases or your row of increases, which is a row of single crochets. But I find that this is a really good size, at least for me, so that it fits on a table. So that's where I'm going to stop. But to finish this off, we're just going to leave a nice long tail, cut the end, and I'm going to grab a yarn or a tapestry needle. I prefer tapestry needles because they're not so thick. But I'll grab my tapestry needle. See, and it's nice and round at the tip, so I don't have to worry about poking myself. So let's get this threaded, and we're just going to weave in our end. If you also have the other end of yarn left over from the center, like in the center of the pot holder, you can weave in the end the same way. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this through one of the stitches over here, and I'm just going to insert my needle all the way down. Let's work a little bit lower, and I'm going to work in a square pattern. So I'm just going to go one direction and then go the other direction and then go the third direction and close off my little square over here by going in the last direction. There we go. So I'm back to where I started. So depending on how long an end you leave on your yarn, you might have to go around a couple of times. So I'll just go around a few times and then find a straight part at least, or somewhere where I can hide my yarn, and then just insert the needle all the way through, and that way I can hide the tail end of the yarn. So like here I just kind of went straight through just because it is a nice place where I can hide this much yarn. Just pull it, and there we go. Get that all nice and tucked in. So I'm going to zoom out here so that you can see this a little bit better. But for my centerpiece, I made a total of 3 of the large circles, so 1 green, 1 white, 1 red, and then 21 of the small circles, and that's 7 white, 7 green, 7 red. I have a small table, so I didn't need any more. You can make as many of these as you want. I also am not going to sew mine together. If you want a permanent look, you can sew them together, and that way your centerpiece, you can move it as one giant piece. I'm just going to use all of these little ones as coasters throughout the night, so I'm going to leave them loose. But that's up to you. So that's all I've got. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below. You can find the free written pattern on my blog, and that's modebespoke.blogspot.com. There is a link in the description if you want to go check out other written patterns. Follow me on Instagram to see all of my different crochet projects, and that is at mode.bespoke. Subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and thanks for watching.